Welcome to the Money GPS. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. This is what I've warned about. It is now here, and it may not be what you're thinking. You see, all along we've had this inflationary pressure coming from the devaluation of the currency. On top of that, you throw everything that we've seen, and these are hints from previous cycles. There are hints of 2000. There are hints of 1987 in some ways. And there are so many in the past. And yet today, we are seeing something different. Let's begin. Stores have too much stuff. Here's where they're slashing prices. So it's actually interesting for two reasons. Number one being there's something serious going on. Number two, you might be able to get some discounts at your local retailers in the near future. So shop around. Retailers are getting ready to cut prices of goods that were popular over the last few years. Expect discounts like you've never seen them before. Remember what I was saying, that all of these different stores, they ran out of inventory. So what do? They place an order that's triple, quadruple, and beyond larger than what they've ever done. So what does that do to the inventory? Well, number one, they're anticipating what we don't know. We don't know what would happen 6 months down the road, a year down the road. And now we find out that they ordered way too much stuff. They're naming all the big names: Target, Walmart, Macy's, and so on. Target expects squeeze profits from aggressive plan to get rid of unwanted inventory. Of course. They have to bring down their prices substantially to get this stuff to move out. As a result, it's going to hit them, and their stocks will be involved in that. But I think more important than this is that you will see this reverberate through the economy as stores begin to lay people off. Walmart, Gap, and others amass $45 billion in extra stuff to sell. That's a big number. Companies bulked up amid the lengthy shipping delays, and we covered that all along. And what I told you, some refer to as the bullwhip effect. But think about this for a second here. You've ordered all this inventory. You don't know what the demand is going to be later on. You're left with all this stuff. That's going to create a big problem. I think overall GDP can fall from here. Doesn't take a genius to figure it out. With inflation on top of that, it kind of, seals the deal. But this is interesting. Remember what we were talking about just recently, it seems. Fertilizer stockpiles swell as farmers shun high prices, easing harvest worries. So now let's break it apart in two. Number one, the fertilizer stockpiles, which were dwindling, the prices were going sky high, is one factor, and that's good news. You want to see more fertilizer, but why? Because the price is too high. And I've talked about demand destruction over and over again. Demand destruction. And here we are. This is it. Now, if you look at it from another perspective here, what does it mean if they're not using that fertilizer in this commercial soil, commercial environment, monocrop, all that stuff? Trust me, I'm on the same page as you guys. This is going to mean less yield in total for the produce that's put out there, and as a result, higher prices. Recession fears surge among CEOs. More than 60% of executives see a recessionary period in the next year and a half. Now, this kind of information, you see it not just through surveys like this. Okay, so when I give you a piece of data, remember that there's always multiple ways to look at it, but you got to look at it from the whole. And so you see consumer confidence, you see inflation, you see the producer price index, you see manufacturing, you just see all these different pieces, and you put them together, and it really shows us, paints a picture for us, what's happening. A massive slowdown. And it was, I want to say, relatively predictable. This cycle, there's nothing, sort of shocking. Maybe to the degree or the speed or what have you, but nothing out of the ordinary. You print a whole bunch of money, and certainly that's going to have a negative impact at a later date. Inflation is on track to hit 7.3% in Canada, the highest since 1983. I'm just showing here that you look at it in Canada, the US, UK, Australia, whatever. And Australia, stay tuned, I got something for you. You know, it's again going on all over the place because every country did the same thing. Trudeau finance chief warns of inflationary turbulence ahead. I messaged Chrystia Freeland on Twitter recently. Didn't get a reply. Did not get a reply. She was at a builder, Berg conference. Hope I didn't just trigger the algorithms, but hey, might want to know what you're doing there. Yeah, instead of just speaking nonsense. Anyway, world central banks now face an uneasy crowd. And it's funny because in this article, they were essentially, the heroes, particularly since 2009 and also came up again in 2020. The central banks fixed everything. But now we're starting to realize that, they're pulling away the stimulus. Now you're the bad guys. They don't see the cycles. People don't see the cycles. 5 ways the Fed's interest rate hikes will impact Americans. And so you can look through this list and, see for yourself. I'll just quickly touch on the points. Mortgage, car, and credit card payments are going to increase. Stock markets are falling, seeing dramatic swings in prices, dramatic downward. It's going to be harder to find a job, and the likelihood of a recession is growing. There's more to it, of course, here, but these are all things that I've covered, and I'm just trying to show you that we're seeing this all come up more and more and more. Isn't it funny? This is huge. The Dow down 11 weeks of the last 12. This didn't even happen in 1929. You got to think about that for a second. Think about that. How extreme. And we're living through it right now. Australia. I don't even know what to say about this. Okay, I posted it on my Twitter. Australians urged to turn off the lights and appliances for 2 hours every evening. Main reason behind the power scarcity said to be unscheduled blackouts at coal-fired power stations. So you, the individual, who uses, in the grand scheme of things, not very much power, and they're telling you that you've got to eat dinner in the dark. I mean, I don't know. You tell me, if whether you're from Australia or not, tell me what you think of this. My initial reaction was negative, to say the least. Housing market update: share of homes with price drops reaches new high as mortgage rates top 2008 levels. You go back, see what happens. If they increase interest rates, mortgage rates go up with it, and as a result, higher borrowing costs. That's actually a lot. When you see it moves up by 1% in the mortgage rate, the monthly payment becomes quite significant. And so we're already there. In the US, it peaked, I think, so far at 6.28%. That's pretty high. And the rate at which it's increasing, I mean, my goodness, it could be at 7 within the next month, I presume. This would be significant, to say the least. So I want to end there. I want to thank you for being here. I'll give you a thumbs up. If you want to give me one as well, that's cool. I think one of the things that I have to do is hire somebody at some point to do all the tech work. It's just too much for me. Probably with this business and my other businesses, probably have involvement in those too, because the money GPS itself, it's just me. But on the other social medias, I mean, there's got using what I have right now and a video editor. Some video editing would be great, and post that on TikTok and Instagram and all that, because I'm trying to do that now, and it is quite extreme, to say the least, to try to keep up with it. The daily videos themselves are difficult. So all that other stuff with the video editing and this and that, it's very time consuming, and it's just, and the beautiful, as you see here, the reason I showed you this, the thumbnails, everybody loves them, but it takes a lot of effort. Anyway, so I'm just spitballing here. I'm just, sharing my mind. That's probably something that I need at some point, to have a video editor, to have somebody that's willing to do the social media stuff. I'm just trying to be transparent with everything that's been happening on this channel. Just to let you know, I appreciate all of your time every day that you spend with me when you watch these videos. All the people that donate through any means whatsoever, whether it's PayPal, Patreon, through the Brave browser, any crypto, whatever it is. I feel obligated, in a sense, to continue to output this stuff, because I feel like so many people that rely on this information, and I'm honored to bring it out. So anyway, that's it. A little fireside chat. Take care. See you on the next one.